Welcome back to Vibe Vision, your go-to channel for deep dives into iconic and classic cars from around the world. Today, we're rolling back to the mid-1970s to explore a small but spirited ride from Australia's automotive history, the 1975 Holden Gemini TX Sedan. It's compact. It's stylish in that distinct 70s way, and it's got a surprising amount of personality packed under that modest sheet metal. Whether you're a Holden fan, a collector, or just love retro cars that carry a ton of charm, the Gemini TX is one of those models that deserves a closer look. Let's start with the exterior, the first impression that defined the Gemini's identity in the 70s. The 1975 Holden Gemini TX had a clean, balanced design that reflected Holden's partnership with Isuzu at the time. It was essentially a rebadged Isuzu Gemini, but Holden added its own local flavor to make it more appealing to the Australian market. The proportions are classic compact sedan. Small footprint, short overhangs, and a shape that's both practical and easy on the eyes. It sits low to the ground, giving it a slightly sporty stance even though it wasn't built as a performance car. The TX version, being the first Gemini model launched by Holden, set the visual tone for what became one of Holden's most successful compact cars. From the front, the Gemini TX wears a simple yet handsome face. The rectangular headlamps sit neatly on either side of a horizontal grille, which proudly carries the Holden badge at its center. The grille itself is understated, featuring fine horizontal slats that give it a touch of refinement. The chrome accents around the headlights and grille frame the front end nicely, a detail that was typical of 1970s design. The bumper below, finished in chrome as well, adds to that classic vintage charm. There's nothing flashy or overcomplicated here, just honest, functional styling that has aged gracefully over the decades. Move to the side profile, and the Gemini's compact dimensions become even more apparent. The TX sedan was just over 4 meters long, and yet it offered proportions that made it look balanced and purposeful. The body lines are clean, with a gentle crease running along the belt line and subtly flared wheel arches that give it a hint of muscle. The chrome door handles and window surrounds add a nice contrast against the body color, and the small steel wheels, usually with chrome hubcaps, complete the understated look. Back in 1975, buyers could choose from a range of solid colors, and Holden offered some striking shades that really captured the era, from vivid yellows to bright reds and deep blues. It's the kind of car that looked equally at home in a suburban driveway or cruising down a coastal highway. At the rear, the design continues the theme of simplicity. Rectangular taillights span the width of the rear end, connected by a slim chrome strip that lines up neatly with the boot lid. The Holden badge once again makes its appearance, and the chrome bumper mirrors the one at the front. There's a certain symmetry to the Gemini's design that makes it visually satisfying. It's not trying too hard, it's just a well-proportioned, well-thought-out little sedan, and because of its lightweight body and relatively small size, it had a certain lightness and agility that made it a favorite among younger drivers of the era. Now, let's talk performance, because even though the Gemini TX wasn't a powerhouse, it delivered more than enough fun for what it was meant to be. Under the hood sat a 1.6-liter four-cylinder engine, borrowed from Isuzu, producing around 63 horsepower. That might not sound like much by modern standards, but remember, the car weighed just over 800 kilograms. The result was a nimble little sedan that felt responsive, eager, and surprisingly engaging to drive. It wasn't built for racing, but it could certainly hold its own on twisty roads or in city traffic. The power plant was paired with either a 4-speed manual gearbox or a 3-speed automatic. Most enthusiasts preferred the manual, as it allowed the driver to really make the most of the modest power output. Shifts were crisp and mechanical, and the clutch was light, making it an easy car to drive smoothly. The rear-wheel drive layout gave it great balance and predictable handling, something that enthusiasts still appreciate today. On open roads, the Gemini had a lively character, not blisteringly quick but full of energy and mechanical honesty. One of the biggest strengths of the Gemini TX was its handling. With a front engine, rear-wheel drive setup, and a simple yet effective suspension design, double wishbones at the front and a coil-sprung live axle at the rear, it offered precise steering and an enjoyable driving feel. The car's lightweight made it incredibly nimble, allowing it to dart through corners with confidence. Even at higher speeds, the Gemini felt stable and composed, something that couldn't always be said about other small sedans of the time. Fuel efficiency was another major selling point. In the fuel-conscious mid-1970s, the Gemini's small engine made it an affordable car to own and run. It could easily return impressive mileage figures, making it ideal for everyday driving. That blend of affordability, reliability, and fun-to-drive nature made it one of Holden's best-selling cars almost immediately after its release. Moving briefly inside, the interior of the 1975 Holden Gemini TX reflected the minimalist practicality of the era. It was simple, functional, and designed for comfort rather than luxury. The dashboard was straightforward, featuring a clean instrument cluster with a speedometer, fuel gauge, and basic warning lights. The materials were durable, mostly vinyl and plastic, which gave it a no-nonsense vibe. Depending on the trim level, you could find cloth or vinyl seats, and the cabin layout made good use of space, giving both front and rear passengers decent legroom for a compact car. The steering wheel was large and thin-rimmed, typical of the time, and visibility from the driver's seat was excellent, thanks to the slim pillars and upright windshield. Everything was easy to reach, from the gear lever to the ventilation controls. Even though it was a small car, the Gemini had a sense of airiness inside, partly due to its tall windows and uncluttered design. The trunk space was surprisingly generous for a sedan of its size, making it practical for everyday errands or weekend getaways. The Gemini TX wasn't about luxury or speed. It was about balance, reliability, and charm. It was a car for the everyman, one that combined affordability with real driving enjoyment. It was also a car that played an important role in Holden's lineup, bridging the gap between the big, powerful Kingswood and the smaller, more economical Tirana variants. For many Australians, the Gemini was their first car, and it quickly built a loyal following. Today, the 1975 Holden Gemini TX has become somewhat of a cult classic. Its simplicity, rear-wheel drive setup, and vintage styling have made it a favorite among classic car enthusiasts. Restored examples are often seen at car shows, and modified Geminis and with upgraded engines and suspension have become popular in Australia's tuner scene. There's something deeply appealing about the Gemini's unpretentious nature. It's a car that never needed to boast. It just quietly did its job and did it well. In an era dominated by big engines and heavy cars, the Gemini TX proved that small cars could have big personalities. Its lightweight build, efficient engine, and dependable mechanics made it a joy to own and drive. And decades later, that same charm remains intact. The 1975 Holden Gemini TX Sedan may not have been the flashiest car of its time, but it captured the spirit of an era when driving was simple, fun, and full of character. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1975 Holden Gemini TX Sedan, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to Vibe Vision, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next classic car review. We've got more vintage legends coming your way. Cars that defined their time and still make our hearts race today. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep the vibes alive with Vibe Vision.